Hey, folks. Welcome into the 49ers Report. I am Cam Rogers. Fun show on tap here, ladies and gentlemen. Rumors and my training camp predictions. But first, some breaking news. Richard Sherman has been cleared for training camp. He's ready to roll, ladies and gentlemen. He will not be placed on the PUP list. And even if he was, it wouldn't have been the worst situation in the world because, well, you could be taken off it at any point. It's not like the regular season when you have to miss 6 games there. So, obviously, great news. Richard Sherman, a full go for training camp. Let's get into the latest 49ers rumors now. Are the 49ers overrated? And not just overrated in general, the most overrated team in the NFL. One Jethead on this one, ladies and gentlemen. This coming from Bleacher Report, which recently released its rankings of the most overrated teams in the National Football League, and the 49ers checked in at number 1. The article noted that the team is led by a quarterback with 12 career touchdown passes, which they are, and I understand the qualms with that. Also mentioned the lack of depth at the skill positions and concern with pass rush ability. I understand the concern with the pass rush. I understand the Jimmy Garoppolo lack of sample size argument, but lack of depth at the skill position, there's plenty of depth at the skill position, especially at wide receiver. And so I understand why people out there are saying, well, the 49ers are getting hyped up way too much. They're overrated. Well, can we actually say that when we haven't seen the 49ers on the football field yet in terms of the regular season? Just doesn't make much sense. So when you take a look at these key arrivals, there is reason to believe that the 49ers will be successful in 2018. Come back to me in week 5, week 6, when if they perhaps go 1-5 or something like that, then yes, maybe we can say the 49ers are overrated because they got so much hype going into the regular season. Let me know what you think about the 49ers. Are they overrated? A little too much hype for your liking? Type 1 for yes, type 2 for no. Let me know in comments what you guys think. All right, next up on the list is the run defense in trouble for 2018. Firmly in the rumor category for now. We'll give you 2 Jetheads here, as you see Mr. Buckner on your screen. And Pro Football Focus released its rankings for run defense entering 2018, and the 49ers check in at number 28, which is kind of surprising, and I'm a big fan of Pro Football Focus too. So it noted that the 49ers lack a true nose tackle. Yeah, there's Earl Mitchell there, but he was the worst run stopper in the National Football League, according to Pro Football Focus. That ain't good. He needs to play better. Reuben Foster, of course, once he returns, obviously will be very important to that run D. DeForest Buckner, Eric Armstead is pretty solid in run defense as well. I'm only giving it 2 because I feel like the 49ers are a little better than 28th in the National Football League. I feel like there are some worse front sevens out there in the NFL. All right, next up, did Jimmy Garoppolo and Tom Brady not get along? Well, 3 Jetheads, but not in the way that you think. So Brady and Garoppolo have very similar mentalities when it comes to being competitive and when it comes to going at it with each other, trying to get the opportunity on the football field. So one quote that Garoppolo said was that he and Brady, quote, wanted to kill each other. But again, in a friendly, competitive way. The two still text and all of that stuff, so it's nothing personal by any means. It's just the nature of what these two bring to the table. Jimmy Garoppolo, one of the more competitive quarterbacks out there in the NFL. Tom Brady, the most competitive quarterback in the NFL, you can make the argument. So nothing personal per se, but Jimmy and Brady obviously are premier quarterbacks in the league. One of them going down as the best to ever live in my eyes, but potentially a lot of people out there could say Joe Montana as well. But with that, I mean, it does not surprise me that Brady and Garoppolo did not talk for long spans of time or anything like that. It's just the nature of being a competitor in the NFL. You have to have that kind of mentality to get to that level. All right, we're going to get to the 49ers perhaps trading for Julio Jones, and I'll have more details on that rumor and whether or not it is actually going to happen. But first, a word from our friends at Game Time.
Did you know that ticket prices can actually go down right before the game? That's where Game Time comes in. Game Time tracks ticket prices in real time from thousands of trusted sellers, then shows you all the best deals. So we can get tickets at the last minute for up to 60% off. Download Game Time now.
Folks, we're giving it one jet head here on Julio Jones. So this came through a recent Twitter mailbag on Niners Wire. And yes, Julio isn't necessarily happy with the contract situation with the Atlanta Falcons here. And the Falcons want to keep Julio Jones around as long as possible. He's a top 2 wide receiver in the National Football League, perhaps the best wide receiver in the NFL. Now, if Julio was entering the final year of his deal, like maybe an Odell Beckham Jr., for example, then yes, the trade talks would heat up a little more. But Julio Jones still has 3 years left on his deal. So I would suspect Jones returns in time for the regular season, because at that point, you're just not going to throw away any money and just not show up during the regular season at all. So I think Jones will remain on the Falcons. He won't get traded. But do you want the 49ers to trade for Julio Jones? Hit me up in the reaction poll. Give me a heart for yes, a like for no. But let me just tell you, folks, one jet head, I don't think it's going to happen. Very, very slim chance of that going down. But yes, there is the Kyle Shanahan Julio Jones reunion narrative out there, but I don't think it's going to happen. All right, next up on the list, Garoppolo was almost traded to the Cleveland Browns. 2 jet heads on this one because, well, it wasn't like close to being happening. So the story goes as follows. The Patriots reportedly got a better offer from the Cleveland Browns for Jimmy Garoppolo. The Browns reportedly offered multiple first-rounders. But guess what? Bill Belichick stepped in. He wanted Jimmy Garoppolo to go to a better situation than Cleveland, and there is essentially 31 better options than the Cleveland Browns. And so Bill Belichick was like, you know what? Let's send Jimmy Garoppolo to a place where he can succeed, i.e. the San Francisco 49ers. And so the Patriots got less in compensation, if you will, for sending Garoppolo to the San Francisco 49ers than what they would have gotten from the Cleveland Browns. So kind of an interesting story here because, of course, you may recall the reports out there that Bill Belichick never wanted to trade away Jimmy Garoppolo in the first place. So a lot of investment there in his former quarterback. Bill Belichick still very much in Jimmy Garoppolo's life right now, as that takes us to rumor number 6 here. Did Bill Belichick text Jimmy Garoppolo last season after every single win there for the 49ers? Feeling pretty good about this. 3 jet heads here. It kind of falls in line with the logic that I was talking about. Bill Belichick loves Jimmy Garoppolo. Bill Belichick did not want to trade away Jimmy Garoppolo. Why? Because he knew that Tom Brady was going to eventually retire. And so in that vein, you have Garoppolo to cement the next level, if you will, of the Patriots' legacy. And then Bill Belichick can waltz into the sunset knowing the Patriots are in good hands with Garoppolo. Obviously, not the case, but what I'm trying to say is Bill Belichick very much stays in Jimmy Garoppolo's day-to-day life, and the fact that Belichick was texting Garoppolo and the fact that Belichick did not want to send Garoppolo within the AFC tells me that he thinks Jimmy G is a top-line quarterback in the NFL. All right, let's go to rumor number 7 on the list. Joe Williams, is he going to make the roster? A lot of buzz out there that maybe he's not going to make the 53-man roster. 2 jet heads here, pretty close to 3 to be honest with you. I'll talk more about Joe during my training camp predictions. But Niners Wire released its 53-man roster predictions, and it has Williams making the team as the 4th running back. The reality is, I don't know if the 49ers choose to keep 4 on the roster, considering they already have a great fullback in Kyle Juszczyk. So I don't know if it makes much sense to have 4 running backs on the 53-man roster. The 49ers team website even said that Williams has an uphill climb to make the roster. So when you have the 49ers team website cautioning expectations about Joe Williams, it's somewhat alarming. You take a look at the 49ers running back depth chart right now, and Joe is there at number 4 on the list. So in my eyes, I think the 49ers have 3 running backs on the roster. That leaves Williams on the outside looking in. All right, next up on the list, a Jimmie Ward extension happening. Well, some context. Ward is going to make $8.5 million in 2018 to perhaps be on the bench week 1 of the regular season. In terms of an extension, this summer, one Jedhead. I don't think it's going to go down. I think San Francisco wants to see, number one, during training camp, where will Jimmie Ward actually fit? And then number two, during the regular season, can he execute in that fit? So there is no need for San Francisco necessarily to extend Jimmie Ward this summer. Because first of all, we don't really know what his role is on this team. Now, he does have versatility. He can play nickel. He can play outside corner. He can play safety. Yes, that is valuable, but that's valuable from a depth perspective, not from an $8.5 million salary perspective. So, in essence, Ward is getting overpaid this season, and we all know that, and there was some minor buzz out there about maybe a trade involving Jimmie Ward and the like, but as of now, he's going to be on the 49ers, and in terms of an extension, I really don't see it happening this summer. Next summer, obviously, that's when the 49ers really have to make a decision. Next spring, to be honest with you. All right, next up, DeForest Buckner. Is he the best defender on the team? Yes, he is. Easy, easy, easy. 4 Jedheads here. So his nickname on the team is Defensive Player of the Year with good reason. Now, SB Nation recently released the 49ers player power rankings, if you will. Garoppolo, of course, checks in as the best player on the team. Buckner's there at number 2, making him the best defensive player on the team. And he got an elite grade, according to Pro Football Focus, a year ago. And I think Buckner has the potential for double-digit sacks if Eric Armstead is healthy and Solomon Thomas takes a step forward, which I think he will. So this is an easy answer for me on this weigh-in. Who's the best defender on the San Francisco 49ers? It's DeForest Buckner all the way. Now, somebody who could emerge on that defense and break out, if you will, Akella Witherspoon at cornerback.